the vibrant borough of Brooklyn, New York, life moved at a fast pace, filled with the aroma of street food, the hum of subway trains, and the chatter of diverse communities. Amid this lively setting, four wealthy friends, Marcus, Ethan, Ryan, and Liam, regularly gathered at a sleek rooftop lounge with panoramic views of the city. Known for their extravagant antics and bold dares, these friends found excitement in testing each other's limits with outrageous bets. One summer evening, as the group shared cocktails and laughed, Liam leaned back in his chair with a sly grin. "See that woman over there?" he said, gesturing toward Bella, the head baker at a cozy pastry shop across the street. Bella was unlike anyone Marcus had ever dated. She was a full-figured woman, weighing over 150 kilograms, with a warm smile and an air of quantity. "I dare you to win her over. Marry her and stay with her for 6 months," Liam challenged. "Do that, and I'll fund your dream vacation for 2 years. Marcus was never one to back down from a challenge, especially not one issued by Liam. He straightened his designer jacket, took a sip of his drink, and smirked. "Deal," he said confidently, already mapping out his plan. Across the street, Bella worked diligently in her small bakery, Blissful Bites. The warm glow from the shop's lights illuminated her as she moved gracefully between customers and the oven, her apron dusted with flour. Despite her larger frame, Bella exuded a quiet elegance that drew people in. She greeted every customer with a kind smile, her voice gentle yet warm. As Marcus entered the bakery, the scent of freshly baked bread and pastries enveloped him. Bella glanced up briefly, taking in his expensive attire and confident demeanor, then returned her attention to the customer in front of her. She had dealt with flashy types before and didn't think much of it. When it was his turn, Marcus flashed his signature charming smile. "Hi there," he said smoothly. "I'll take one of whatever you recommend." Bella handed him a freshly baked croissant, her expression polite but distant. "Here you go. That'll be $3. He chuckled lightly, holding her gaze. "Do you always serve your customers with such enthusiasm?" he teased. Bella raised an eyebrow but kept her composure. "I let the food do the talking," she replied, moving on to the next customer. Unfazed, Marcus lingered for a moment, casually asking for her name. "Bella," she replied curtly, not offering anything more. As Marcus walked out, croissant in hand, he realized that Bella wasn't going to be an easy target. For the first time in a long while, he felt genuinely intrigued. Over the next few days, Marcus returned to Blissful Bites with increasing regularity, always finding an excuse to strike up a conversation with Bella. At first, his attempts were met with polite but guarded responses. Bella wasn't the kind of person to be easily impressed by grand gestures or smooth words. She had worked hard for everything she had, and her life was built on practicality, not fleeting charm. Undeterred, Marcus began changing his approach. Instead of flaunting his wealth, he asked Bella questions about her work. He listened as she spoke about the challenges of running a bakery in a competitive borough like Brooklyn, and how she had started Blissful Bites with her late grandmother's recipes. As Bella opened up about her passion for baking and her dream of expanding her shop, Marcus found himself captivated by her determination and sincerity. One evening, Marcus invited Bella out for dinner at a high-end restaurant. Reluctantly, she agreed, curious but cautious. The evening began awkwardly. Bella felt out of place among the crystal glasses and perfectly polished decor. She noticed Marcus's wandering eyes as women passed their table, and she questioned whether he was taking her seriously. After that night, Bella decided to decline any more grand outings. When Marcus called her again, she suggested something simpler: a walk in the park. Surprised but willing, Marcus agreed. The change in pace caught him off guard. As they strolled through Prospect Park, eating hot dogs from a food cart and watching families play on the grass, Marcus realized he was enjoying himself more than he had in years. Bella's laughter was infectious, and her straightforward demeanor made him feel at ease in a way he hadn't expected. Soon, their outings became a regular occurrence. Marcus took Bella to small, locally owned restaurants where they laughed over plates of spicy food, and she introduced him to the joys of thrift shopping in Brooklyn's quirky stores. He even tried his hand at baking with her, albeit clumsily, and ended up covered in flour, while Bella doubled over with laughter. As their connection deepened, Marcus began to feel something he couldn't quite name. Bella wasn't like the women he'd dated before, who were drawn to his wealth and charm. She challenged him to see life differently, to slow down and appreciate the little things. For the first time, he felt like he could be himself, stripped of pretense and bravado. But even as he started to care for Bella, the shadow of the bet loomed in his mind. Every time he met with Liam, Ethan, and Ryan, their sly comments reminded him of why he had pursued Bella in the first place. As Marcus's relationship with Bella grew, so did the tension between him and his friends. Liam, in particular, found endless amusement in mocking Marcus's newfound simplicity. "So, how's your future, Mrs. Croissant?" Liam teased one evening over drinks. "Still planning that 2-year vacation I promised?" Marcus forced a laugh, brushing it off, but deep down the jokes stung. He had started this as a bet, but Bella had become so much more to him. Her kindness, her resilience, and the quiet confidence she carried in her 150-kilogram frame had captured his heart in ways he hadn't thought possible. Meanwhile, Bella was beginning to let Marcus in. She appreciated his effort to adapt to her world, his willingness to trade his tailored suits for casual shirts and jeans, his newfound appreciation for Brooklyn's hidden gems, and the way he listened to her without judgment. Yet a small voice in her head urged caution. She had been hurt before by people who didn't truly see her for who she was, and she feared Marcus might be the same. The breaking point came one fateful evening, at a party Liam hosted in his penthouse. Marcus had tried to avoid the event, knowing the kind of conversations that would arise, but Liam had insisted. He brought Bella along, hoping to show his friends how serious he was about her. At first, things seemed fine. Bella, though shy, charmed the room with her warmth and wit. Marcus couldn't help but feel proud, watching her hold her own among the high-powered crowd. But as the night went on, Liam's sly comments began to surface. "So, Marcus," Liam began loudly enough for others to hear, "you've got just a couple of weeks left, right? 6 months, and you'll be off on that dream vacation." Bella, standing nearby, felt her heart sink. Her hands trembled slightly as her eyes darted toward Marcus, her breath catching in her throat. "What's he talking about?" she asked softly, though her voice cracked under the weight of suspicion. Marcus turned pale, his chest tightening as he struggled to find the right words. "Bella, it's not what you think." But Liam, grinning smugly and slurring his words from too much alcohol, interrupted. "Oh, come on, Marcus. Don't act like a hero. We all know this started as a dare." The room fell into an awkward silence. Bella's face twisted in pain as if someone had struck her. "A dare?" she whispered, the tremor in her voice betraying the storm brewing inside her. Tears welled up, but she held them back, her body stiffening as she took a step back from Marcus. "Bella, please," Marcus pleaded, stepping toward her. "It started that way, but it's not like that anymore. I care about you. I love you." Tears welled in Bella's eyes as she stepped back. "You used me," she said, her voice breaking. "I trusted you, Marcus. I thought you were different." Without another word, Bella turned and left, leaving Marcus standing in the middle of the room, his heart shattered. The days following Bella's departure were some of the hardest Marcus had ever faced. Her absence was a constant ache, and the weight of his betrayal crushed him. He called her every day, left messages apologizing and begging for a chance to explain, but she didn't respond. Her silence was louder than any words she could have spoken. Determined to make things right, Marcus threw himself into trying to atone. He remembered Bella once mentioning a local community center in Brooklyn that hosted workshops and support groups for individuals struggling with self-esteem and body image. Hoping to reconnect with the values Bella cherished, Marcus volunteered there. At first, he felt out of place, like a stranger in a world he had never truly understood. Sorting donations and setting up events felt trivial at first, but as he listened to the stories of those who came to the center, something shifted. A single mother shared her struggles to find work while caring for her child, and a teenager spoke of being bullied for her size. Amongst his collection, Marcus found himself moved in ways he never expected. Each interaction chipped away at his superficial worldview, forcing him to confront how insulated his life had been. Over time, he found purpose in the simplicity of the work, realizing it wasn't about grand gestures, but the impact of small, consistent efforts. One day, while helping with a bake sale fundraiser at the center, Marcus was reminded of Bella. The smell of fresh pastries transported him back to Blissful Bites, where her laugh and the sparkle in her eyes had once made his days brighter. He realized then that his love for Bella had transformed him. It was no longer about winning her back. It was about becoming a man worthy of her trust. Meanwhile, Bella had thrown herself into her work. Blissful Bites was thriving as her loyal customers rallied around her. She expanded the bakery to a second location, pouring her heartbreak into building something she could be proud of. Despite her focus on work, thoughts of Marcus lingered in the back of her mind. She had heard through mutual acquaintances about his involvement at the community center and his efforts to change, but she remained guarded. One evening, Marcus returned to the original Blissful Bites location, unsure if Bella would be there. The soft glow of the shop's lights brought a pang of nostalgia. He watched from across the street as she served customers, her movements confident and graceful. When she finally stepped outside to close up, Marcus gathered his courage and approached. "Bella," he said softly, his voice trembling. "I know I'm the last person you want to see, but I needed to say I'm sorry. Not just for the bet, but for breaking your trust." Bella didn't meet his eyes. "You humiliated me, Marcus. You made me believe you cared." "I do care," he said, his voice breaking. "You taught me to be better, Bella. I don't expect forgiveness, but I'll spend the rest of my life proving to you that I've changed." Bella hesitated, her expression a mixture of sadness and anger. Without another word, she turned and walked away, leaving Marcus standing alone under the dim streetlights. Months passed, and Marcus stayed true to his promise to change. He continued volunteering at the community center, mentoring youth and organizing events to support body positivity initiatives. Though he hadn't seen Bella since their last encounter, he often thought about her, using her memory as motivation to keep improving himself. Bella, meanwhile, had poured her energy into Blissful Bites. The bakery's second location was thriving, and she was gaining recognition in Brooklyn's small business community. Yet, despite her successes, the thought of Marcus lingered. She had seen glimpses of the man he was trying to become, and while her heart remained cautious, she couldn't deny that something about him had left a lasting impression. Their paths crossed again at a charity gala hosted by the community center. Bella had been invited as a guest of honor for her contributions to a local food drive, and Marcus was there as one of the event's organizers. The room buzzed with chatter and laughter, but Marcus's focus was solely on Bella. She stood by the refreshment table, radiant yet distant, her warm smile reserved for those around her. Gathering every ounce of courage, Marcus approached, his palms sweaty and heart pounding. "Bella," he said softly, his voice tinged with both hope and hesitation. She turned to face him, her expression carefully guarded, though her eyes betrayed a flicker of surprise. "Marcus," she replied, her tone steady but laced with curiosity. "I wasn't sure you'd want to see me," he admitted. Bella studied him for a moment, then sighed. "I've heard about the work you've been doing. It's admirable." Marcus smiled humbly. "It's because of you, Bella. You made me want to be better." For the first time in months, Bella's guarded expression softened. "Maybe we could have coffee sometime," she said cautiously. Marcus nodded, his heart pounding. "I'd like that." Marcus and Bella's coffee meetings became a weekly ritual. They met on quiet Saturday mornings at a small cafe near her bakery, their conversations slowly growing warmer and more familiar. Marcus never pushed. He let Bella set the pace, showing his sincerity through small, thoughtful gestures. Bringing her flowers from the market, asking about her latest recipes, and truly listening. Bella saw the changes in him. He no longer carried the air of arrogance that had defined him before. Instead, he was grounded, humble, and patient. Her walls, though carefully rebuilt, began to come down. One crisp autumn afternoon, as they walked through Prospect Park, Bella paused. "Marcus," she began, her voice steady but soft, "I never stopped caring about you. But trust takes time to rebuild." Marcus nodded, his heart swelling with hope. "I'll wait as long as it takes, Bella. You're worth it." A year after their first coffee meeting, Marcus and Bella stood together in a modest, sunlit garden draped with strings of fairy lights and decorated with wildflowers. The soft hum of acoustic music played in the background as their closest friends and family gathered around, their smiles reflecting the love that filled the air. This wasn't a wedding of grandeur or luxury. It was one of heartfelt promises and quiet joy, a true reflection of the journey they had taken together. Bella wore a flowing ivory dress that complemented her radiant smile, her happiness shining brighter than ever. Marcus, dressed in a classic suit, held her hands tightly as he spoke his vows. "Bella," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion, "you've taught me the meaning of love, humility, and forgiveness. I vow to honor, cherish, and stand by you every day of my life." Tears glistened in Bella's eyes as she replied, "Marcus, you've shown me that people can change, that love can heal even the deepest wounds. I'm proud to call you my husband, and I promise to build a future with you, rooted in trust and kindness." The guests cheered as they shared their first kiss as husband and wife, a moment that felt like the beginning of a new chapter. In the months that followed, life settled into a fulfilling rhythm. Bella's bakeries continued to thrive, while Marcus found joy in his community work. Their partnership was built on mutual respect, laughter, and shared dreams. One sunny morning, Bella surprised Marcus with joyful news. They were expecting their first child. Overwhelmed with happiness, Marcus held her close, knowing their journey, from betrayal to redemption, had led them to this moment. Together, they had built a life of love and purpose, proving that even the deepest wounds could heal and second chances could lead to something beautiful.